Okay, oh, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, little guy. What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, wrapping up a little bit of interesting news coming from the World of Warcraft Classic launch. It is just a few days away at this point. I am very, very excited to be playing World of Warcraft Classic with hopefully many of you. I'm currently getting bombarded by kitties. Hey, little Annie. What do you say? Meow, meow, meow. All right. Well, recently, actually just yesterday, I heard they were removing skeletons from World of Warcraft Classic to prevent bad words and ads. Now, if you were around during original Classic, yes, you could see the occasional skeletons arranged into ads for gold buyers and gold sellers and things like that. But for me, that's part of the game. I'm not exactly happy about this removal. While I understand why they did it, let's read a little bit more about it. On August 27th, woohoo, World of Warcraft Classic will give players the opportunity to return to the world of Azeroth in its original form. By the way, Blizzard just had to add a bunch of new servers today, I believe I saw, for WoW Classic. So remember the guy that said, you think you do, but you don't? Well, I'd say he's eating a giant plate of crow right now, while also cashing gigantic checks, so I guess he wins. At least its original form. One small feature will be missing. No skeletons will be left on the ground after players pass. In a recent Reddit post, Blizzard confirmed the news, stating that they wanted to prevent players from using the skeletons to create negative messages, hate speech, or advertisements. This is the classic... This is a classic example of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, or what few bad apples spoil the bunch. Look, this is part of the game. We were used to this, and it seems a bit reactionary, a bit, you're taking away fun from a lot of players. 99.5% of players, and while I'm sure you know 80% of statistics are made up on the spot, a huge percentage of the players, I thought it was funny when you would drive by it or people would arrange things. Look, why not just, there's already a feature in the game. Just let people report when something like this, when it's bad, right? Can't you just have this? There's already a feature in the game. Anyway, some fans looking forward to Classic have been disappointed by the news, as the skeletons were a fun feature in the earlier version of the game. They made in-game events feel more realistic. They lined the battlefields to symbolize PvP combat that had taken place earlier on. Oh, I forgot about that. That's so... I loved seeing that. It's totally immersion breaking. Now, I remember like passing through an area and being like, whoa, what happened here? Like something was going down, that there's all these skeletons left. Getting rid of the skeletons slightly takes away from the World of Warcraft Classic's authenticity, as it moves to take the game a step back from its purpose, recreating the original world of Azeroth. Fans suggested that Blizzard should simply ban players who use the skeletons to promote negative messages or advertisements. Right, why not? Why not? I think there's still time to change your mind. So if you're a WoW Classic fan or World of Warcraft fan, like and share this video. Let's get Blizzard to put the skeletons back in. I don't understand. There's already a mechanic to stop this. So other fans brought up the fact that skeleton feature was very rarely abused, and the entire Classic fan base is being punished for the would-be actions of a small group of delinquents. Yes, we agree. Some even suggested that Blizzard should consider going back to the previous way in which they handled the situation, allowing players to not only have one skeleton per every hour, to stop skeletal spam. Players who have been following the game for some time know that this is not the first time WoW has had a skeleton controversy. Back in 2007, Chinese copies of the games had no skeletons whatsoever, as they were replaced by gravestones instead. At the time, a staff member who worked for the Nine, the company running the Chinese version of WoW, cited Chinese regulations for the decision, emphasizing that the government wants to promote a healthy and harmonious online environment. Yeah, this is just it's a funny, creepy way that they control video games. It's the same language that they used when I think it was Rainbow Six, where they removed slot machines and then certain blood effects from the walls. We see this oftentimes. It's funny because when you think about, well, it's not that funny, but you think about how this is like subconsciously affecting the video game design in the AAA video game industry in the West. You know, they want a piece of that big pie out there, and they're going to start designing games. You know, there's a huge uproar whenever they have to change something in an existing game. But when it's not there in the first place, people don't complain. So, you know, absolutely, I'm guessing that when you see major companies that want their game to have a presence there, they're just not going to put some of this stuff in the game, which is disappointing. This, of course, it wasn't the first time that their laws have been brought up in regards to skeletons in video games. It wouldn't be the last. On the other hand, Blizzard's decision seems to be more preventative PR more than an actual censorship of the skeletons themselves. Experience has most likely caused here, as the company has certainly dealt with spicy content made via skeletons in the earlier days of World of Warcraft, which is why they were eventually patched out in the first place. It's unfortunate that Classic won't be the same original World of Warcraft down every last detail, but we're pretty sure that Blizzard included most of the original important features, and that game will still be a blast. Yes, I mean, I get it. But this is absolutely an example of World of Warcraft being preventative. It's absolutely a great example of how the company has changed since WoW Classic released in its original days. The modern day Blizzard is not the original one that was around during World of Warcraft Classic, and that could be partly why you see retail struggling, right? When game designers are more afraid to take risks, when game designers are afraid of offending anyone, this absolutely changes the way they design the game. Now, World of Warcraft isn't necessarily one of those games that people think about when they think about edginess in them, but it's certainly not exactly milquetoast. And with the problems of modern day retail, one wonders if this kind of behavior, things that we never saw that could have been in the game, but they took out because maybe a few people would be offended. What was left on the cutting room floor in terms of retail versus Classic, where it was truly basically anything goes for such a long time, and why it was so successful? I'm really interested to see how people react to WoW Classic. I know I'm pumped for it. I know some of you are pumped for it. There are a lot of retail players who are saying like, ugh, go back to where I don't have, you know, map indicators for my quest lines. No thanks. And bouncing between World of Warcraft Classic and retail, I do miss some of those niceties. Just some of those, I was explaining to somebody that works with me about WoW Classic. He used to play WoW. He's only ever really played retail. He didn't really remember a Classic. And he was watching over my shoulder as I was playing the Classic beta. And he was really struggling with the idea that you didn't know, you know how on the map indicator in retail shows you exactly where you need to go to complete certain quests. And that in and of itself allows you to kind of blast through quests. And for me, I'm a questicle, a questicler. I enjoy my quests. And that's mostly what I do. And wow, I just kind of, I'm going to do my quests. And so with retail, you have these little blobs on the map that make it very easy. That's not a thing in Classic. And you spend a lot more time just trying to find things, which a lot of people immediately react to as being a negative, especially if they have that feature now. But I view it as one of those things that, like, I understand the world more. You are forced to explore. And I've come across so many interesting things in WoW Classic in just the beta period that I never knew existed because I was basically just wandering around aimlessly looking to complete a quest. So there's a balance there. Yeah, it's cool to have your quests just on the map and be able to bang through them really quick, but it's also cool and it's more immersive if you actually have to go through the world. There are times where you're like, oh, you know, you spent an hour trying to find a quest or something like that, and there are have been plenty of times where I pull up a new window where I'm just out of frustration. I can't find something. I pull up a new window and I look for a map for it. And even that's kind of cheesy, but it is what it is. World of Warcraft will launch on August 27th, 4 days. Players are already buzzing with excitement. However, there is one change involving skeletons. World of Warcraft Classic is going to take a different approach to this. Instead of seeing the skeletons pile up, you only leave one skeleton behind, and it will disappear after your ensuing death. According to WoW Classic senior test lead in the AMA, this was Counter's decision to fight player abuse. Again, this is a complete overreaction. I strongly hope that World of Warcraft will reconsider this going into the launch. And look, if it becomes a problem and we can't police it as players, then fine. Okay, oh, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, little guy. Sorry, I just thought, it's Friday. I thought maybe you'd like to share in that. Let the players, by the way, if you saw that, remember to like the video and leave a comment. If you made it this far in the video, please do. It's helping the channel. Make sure your notifications are turned on. The little bell, click it so it's highlighted. Many players expressed disappointment. Some of the comments on Reddit include this is a horrible decision, suggesting several ways to keep the original approach, such as randomly repositioning the skeletons or removing them after the character is logged out. Blizzard has yet to follow up on this matter, but it's doubtful you'll see World of Warcraft skeletons. Look, Blizzard, please, listen to me. Listen. I know you think you know better, okay? You thought you knew better when you said we didn't want Classic, all right? Look, is one edgy boy going to rearrange the skeletons into a naughty word and take a screenshot? Yes. So what? That's the thing. So what? Let people report them and then have them scrub after the report. You have GMs in the game that can do it. You got people that can handle this. Don't start picking at the fun things, the original things in because once you start picking at one or two things, or hey, this thing's problematic, or this character's this, or that character's this, you're going to end up with retail. Please, we told you what we wanted with Classic. Please listen to the players and keep your hands out of it and just keep the servers running smooth. And I promise you, you'll have a very profitable game and a thriving community. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to like it and share it. We'll talk to you again real soon. Hey, if you're still hanging out, there's a subscribe button right on the screen right now. Make sure to click that, turn notifications on. And if you want to see the next video, that should also be hovering around the screen. Thanks so much for watching this and for supporting the channel. What are you waiting for? Subscribe and, turn on notifications and like the video.